this has been released at a time when we finished it. And someone might ask the question, why don't you wait until after the legislature is over to release this? We release this report when it's done. In this case, one of the other things that we've done is increase, we added one more person to our fatality review team to help review these quicker. Frankly, I'm frustrated, as I think many directors are around the country, that it takes this long to get a fatality report out. Because it is this report that can cause us to reflect on what are the things that we need to look at and improve. You may recall last year when we released the report, we discovered that too many deaths were occurring because in an automobile. Children are properly restrained. You'll note that that's not here today. So I'd like to think that our communities took this effort to heart and actually changed their work and their efforts to make sure that children were properly restrained. The year before, I think, or 1 year, we talked about drownings in pools and ponds. So, and you see in here, those are down. So I think getting this fatality report out as quickly as we can gives us the opportunity to address important issues, and you send that message.
Judge, you mentioned that the team where you looked at it, some cases might not have been substantiated initially, but that the team looked at it and were substantiated. Were there other cases that went the other direction where a local had recommended substantiation in the central office?
The process?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, that happens. The question is, what is a common standard throughout the state? And so that is why we have check and balances. It's why at the hotline we have a supervisor review the screen-outs. It's why when we have a removal, there's a requirement that there be a team approach to that and looking at it not only from a supervisor but maybe some colleagues. A second, third, and a group of eyes are much better than one, and that includes at the local level. Often we find that there are some indications or knowledges that are available at the local level that they may say, well, we know this family, and we know, for instance, that they weren't watching this pool closely enough. But the fact is, what are the facts that cause this case to be substantiated? Not what are the individual conclusions. It's why, again, second and third eyes are critical.
Director, this 3-year-old boy in Johnson County, I don't know if it's premature to ask this, but can you address whether or not DCS was familiar with this family?
I can't talk about facts. I can tell you that we did have some involvement that ended well over a year ago. And I think you know the reports, which is all I know at this point, that there was a guardianship established. And that's when our involvement stopped. In other words, there was a legal determination that the guardians are the appropriate people to have the child. We don't know anything because we weren't involved after that with that particular case.
When you heard about that case, how did it hit you?
I read almost every fatality every day, and it never stops to be painful. You might think that after 20 years on the bench of really challenging cases and 7 years of reading those and understanding what some human beings are willing to do are their most vulnerable, my heart sank to know that another child was lost and what could have been done to prevent that. Where was the extended family? Where were the supports that were needed to do that? And at least the reports that we're hearing is that this was the first unsupervised visit. My interpretation, although I don't know in your question, what are the facts? That means there might have been some supervised visits. Does that mean they were well supervised? Who provided those? So all sorts of questions go through my mind when I hear that. But I never have been able, in my 27 years involved in this arena, to put myself in a position where I understand how you can hurt a vulnerable child like that. I just have never been able to understand that. Even to this day, I don't understand it. Any other questions?